In my video, I added an ingredient and forgot to give the scientific breakdown and let you know why I even have that in my mix. So that's what we're gonna do right now, is give you the information on this ingredient, Mucuna pruriens. Pruriens? Maybe I'll look up how to say it too before we start. Okay, that is Mucuna pruriens. All right, but also known as the velvet bean. Much easier for me to say, a velvet bean, right? So we're adding this because when I was making my master mix, it was all about cognitive enhancement, and for me, cognitive enhancement also means if you sad, make you happy, because in my brain at least, being sad all the time, that is a symptom of a brain not working optimally. So I added this to my mix because I was doing research on neuromelanin. Honestly, because I watched a cool conspiracy video with a guy that had a nice, trustworthy voice, mysterious smile, and I thought, I like that info. He was basically just saying that he, in his line of secretive work, had heard of people that really knew about the power of neuromelanin, right? And in this knowing, they ate specifically to enhance neuromelanin. And in doing that, they had insanely capable bodies. Just, the greatest of athletes, stuff that most people could never achieve by taking care of specifically their neuromelanin, right? Now, I don't know if that's true, but I do know neuromelanin, regardless, is something that you have that is good for you and needs to be taken care of. And then outside of that, this stuff, the velvet bean, also does amazing stuff because the neuromelanin and dopamine production are related, right? So let me get into my notes in the hard science of this. So a lot of what you're getting in the velvet bean is going to be L-DOPA, right? And that is our dopamine precursor. So the velvet bean seeds contain between 3.1 and 6.1% L-DOPA, right? Also known as levodopa. And most commercial extracts that you're going to find out there are going to be standardized to between 4 and 5%. This information was found in the Journal of Traditional Medicine and Complementary Medicine, citation at the bottom. So here's how it goes. Your L-DOPA pathway, right? It's going to go L-tyrosine to L-DOPA to dopamine to norepinephrine to epinephrine to AADC enzyme. Right, so you need all of these to get all the way there. So you can already see, we already have two pathways that we get across before we can even start making dopamine, right? So it's a good thing to have these precursors to get your body, because your body does the work, but you need the stuff to get you there, right? So that's what we're doing here. And there's been a lot of studies. So unlike synthetic L-DOPA, the velvet bean contains natural cofactors like vitamin B6 and folate, protective antioxidants, and other bioactive compounds that are going to help modulate absorption, right? So there was a clinical study, and this is cool information. There was a clinical study, Katzenschlager, 2004, that was published in Movement Disorders. And basically what was happening in this study is that they have their lab grade version of L-DOPA, right? That they're given to people, and this is just straight L-DOPA, right? But then they had this velvet bean extract, right? They did the study, you know how studies go. They did some blinds, they gave some people the velvet bean, they gave some people the other one, and you have your test group. So what they ended up finding was that the velvet bean powder actually performed better than their straight up lab pharmaceutical version by 38%. And they tested this in people with Parkinson's because these pathways, and this is something that I'm trying to study more on as well and learn more. So we're learning together. I'm no master of the universe. So sorry if I trip up, but I am doing my absolute best to give all information at the level that I understand it. So what they found in these 60 patients with Parkinson's is that the velvet bean performed better than their standard pharmacological concoction that they were making, right? The velvet bean achieved 110% improvement on CINMET levels, which means the amount of L-DOPA that was actually found in people's bloodstream was up by 110% by using this velvet bean extract that we could make and buy easily. And, you know, these people are doing much better. So we also, with this powder, have a 68% faster onset of the effects, which for the people that they were studying with Parkinson's, this is amazing. Also amazing for us, but you know, imagine having Parkinson's and you can take something that's going to give you noticeable relief in like less than an hour. Because they were able to feel that within 54 minutes versus the 89 of their actual pharmaceutical. And overall, when you have the velvet bean as opposed to pharmaceutical L-DOPA, you actually have a longer therapeutic window, which means this can affect you, give you beneficial effects for a much longer period of time than the actual pharmaceutical. And again, to all the government killers, that's not me saying it, that is the studies. And you can check that during the citation. Although don't get the scientists either, I like them. And in this study with the people with Parkinson's, they had significantly fewer dyskinesias. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it basically means the thing that makes them shake and have the movement disorder part, that was significantly reduced just through this velvet bean powder. Like, that's dope. That's magic. That's potions. Like, come on. L-DOPA gives you dopamine, right? We said that. L-tyrosine to L-DOPA to dopamine, right? So dopamine is the direct precursor to neuromelanin, which forms through an auto-oxidation of dopamine in dopaminergic neurons. So a study published in Phytotherapy Research tested Mucuna or velvet bean extract on dopaminergic neurons exposed to toxins, right? The toxins were MPP plus and 6-OHDA. And the result was a 52 to 67% reduction in neuronal death. Look, even on the low end, that's over half. Like, like, come on. And I think sometimes it's like easy to be like, okay, 50%. I mean, I think 50% is like big numbers any day. But if you think about like, if you took a test and failed and only got 50%, but you got another 50%, that's 100. You're acing this bitch now. Like 50, that's a lot. That's all I'm saying. That's a lot. If you got 50% better at something, you would notice. In another study published in Pharmaceutical Biology, they were examining velvet beans' effects on brain monoamines, and the study was on rats. So we're getting dopamine levels plus 37% in striatum, plus 29% in the frontal cortex. Neuroepinephrine, plus 24% in the hippocampus. Serotonin, there was no significant change, but it did not deplete serotonin at all. And these effects were going on for like 3 to 4 hours. In another study, the Journal of Neuroscience Research, they noticed lipid preoxidation reduced by 43%. Glutathione levels increased by 28%, and catalyst activity enhanced by 32%. So in conclusion, this velvet bean extract is exhibiting significant neuroprotective potential through multiple antioxidant mechanisms. And if you go back to our first episode, antioxidant, to me sometimes that just sounds like, oh, that's the good stuff that's in some of the fruits that I eat. But really what antioxidant means is this is protecting you from stuff. So that's kind of what you should relate antioxidants to in your brain. So when we were doing, what was it, NRF2 that releases 200 protective antioxidants and genes, that's protecting you. That's rebuilding stuff. That's making sure there's no damage. That is good. Antioxidants good. It's not just like a vitamin. This other study was posted in Pharmacology, Biochemistry, and Behavior. Rats that were given the velvet bean extract had memory enhancement of up to 32%. Acetylcholine up 29% in the hippocampus. This is critical for memory formation. BDNF plus 41% in the hippocampus. There's a second study in Pharmacology and Biochemistry and Behavior, and this one said it prevented stress-induced memory impairment by 78%. So that's like something I was literally dealing with today with I have a teacher right now that his style of teaching is to put you under as much pressure as possible, and then if you don't break, maybe he'll pass you, right? So preventing stress-induced memory impairment up to 78%. Imagine somebody's putting you under pressure and that makes you nervous. That's like a natural human reaction. But hey, you make a little potion and suddenly you get the magic that makes you, hey, I don't even care right now. I'm so cool. I'm calm. I'm collected. I'm totally passing my class. God, I hope I pass this class. So stress often, so what they're saying right here is the stress that these rats had in this study was reducing their dopamine production by up to 34%, right? But then when they gave them the velvet bean extract powder, bam, we're back on. None of that affects me. I'm not reduced by 34%. I'm actually fine right now. That's excellent, excellent stuff. And then reduced cortisone. So, and that's our stress hormone, if you didn't recognize it by my pronunciation. So the stress hormone was reduced by 42%, almost half. That's crazy numbers. That's magic potions. That's brew this shit right now type numbers, right? This velvet bean extract can literally help protect you from even outside stressors that are making it so that you can't think as well, that are making it so that you can't be as happy as that you would want to. And it can completely, it's not going to eliminate the stress from your life, but it's going to make it so the same stress will keep happening to you, but that effect that used to happen, that shit's gone. That's the old you. The new you's up. And we also found a response rate of 62%. So people were actually responding to it, getting those good benefits, because sometimes not everything works for everybody. So 62% people were getting that response rate opposed to the 23% of the placebo. So these are the kind of numbers that show us that this is working for lots of people. And people that had a remission back to the depressed state, or not back to a remission out of the depressed state, out of it, not back. 31% of people went into remission by just taking this Mucuna powder for 12 weeks. 12 weeks and you're in remission? That's like, this is people that had really severe depression that they're probably dealing with like their whole lives. And in 12 weeks, they were able to turn around and say like, I actually think I'm done with that life. Good numbers. So there's a lot of men out there that are worried about their testosterone, right? Well, you take this velvet bean powder and studies are showing that within 3 months, there's dudes 38% increase in testosterone. And I don't hear y'all talking about the velvet bean. Sperm count, 88% up. You trying to have a baby? Velvet bean. Sperm motility, plus 57%. Pregnancy rate, 38% of people taking the velvet bean that were trying to get pregnant got pregnant, as opposed to the 11% of the control group.